Greetings, citizens! You're now trapped in the NerdCage with your hosts Mark and Jay. We hope you have a smashing good time.
Yes, hello and welcome. That's right, you're trapped in NerdCage Live. This ain't just a reaction show, but a debate show and a live discussion on everything that makes people like you and I tick. So thank you for joining us today. I am your co-host, Jay St. G, coming to you live from Syracuse, New York, and always with me, my man, the Fiend, from Louisville, Mark Withers. What's shaking, boss?
Hey, what's going on, man? Super excited to be here as usual. Dude, the Emmys are coming.
Yes,
September 20th. I am super stoked for this, man. Like I said in a previous episode, we may have had kind of like a low bar year in terms of like theatrical releases, things coming out in the cinema because of COVID, but television has more than made up for it this year. I mean, we've had some fantastic TV shows come out.
And it's evolved.
One of my favorites this year is Watchmen, which is leading the pack right now with 26 nominations. I mean, I never thought that I would live to see a day where a comic book based film or a comic book based TV show would not only get made into a successful series, but that series would then but be nominated for so many Emmy nominations. So I wanted to kind of get your take on this. Like, how do you feel about all this?
Well, this is pretty exciting because, again, we're living in an age where streaming, like Netflix, Watchmen may have been the series with the most categories, but Netflix, all their shows dominated as well. And it's just a pretty amazing time we're living in where these streaming services are now taking over the Emmys over like live TV and stuff. So it's actually, or cable, I should say. So it's actually pretty interesting age we're living in now, how everything's evolved. And of course, Emmy's going to be like, it's going to be like pretty much a giant Zoom call being broadcasted from everybody's houses and stuff. So we're really interested. And of course, I just want to add in here that we are going to do another rapid fire with the Emmys today. So that should be an absolute blast. But before we go into the major categories, as you just pointed out, Watchmen dominated, which is great, a DC property, a graphic novel. But again, I'm not a Star Wars fan, but the fact that The Mandalorian has been nominated for several categories, and so is Star Trek Picard. So not only that comic books, but science fiction, like nerd culture, has taken over the Emmys this year. It's awesome.
Nerds are absolutely dominating this year, man. Yes. I couldn't be prouder if I tried, you know. This is fantastic.
And that's why we're here. That's why we're talking about the Emmys, because this NerdCage Live, man, worldwide, and now, like, the fandom has taken over the Emmys. Who knew? I never thought I'd see the day.
Right. Absolutely. You know what I mean? And, you know, we are going to dedicate this episode, or the majority of this episode, to basically our picks, our predictions for who's going to win in each category. We're basically coming up with our little brackets for each, and see afterwards how well we did. So absolutely, we've got a whole lot to get through, and some of these categories are going to be some tough picks. So Jay, why don't you lead us, you know, and let us know what the first category is going to be.
All right, so we're going to hit up Best Drama. So we have Better Call Saul, The Crown, Handmaid's Tale, Killing Eve, The Mandalorian, Ozark, Stranger Things, and Succession. So I want Better Call Saul to win, but I think Ozark's going to win.
Okay. And I kind of agree with you. Ozark was fantastic this year, man. And the cast was absolutely stacked. The story was completely riveting. You know, probably the best season that they've had yet. I'm probably going to predict that Ozark wins. Although Succession on HBO has been phenomenal. And again, you know, it's one of those casts where everybody's a superstar in it. And I would not be surprised if that actually took the prize.
Okay. What we got next?
All right. Next is comedy series. So we have Curb Your Enthusiasm, Dead to Me, The Good Place, Insecure, The Kominsky Method, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Schitt's Creek, and What We Do in the Shadows.
Okay. What do you got?
Right. I'm going to predict... and to be honest, I haven't seen all of these.
Yeah, same here.
Out of the ones that I've seen, I'm going to predict that it's going to be The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Yep. Because I think they've won before, too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, Rachel Brosnahan, does a great job in the title role. Sterling K. Brown is on this season. Mm-hmm. He's doing a great job. And I think that it's very likely that they're going to win. What do you think?
I'm thinking Schitt's Creek because everybody, I've had 3 or 4 people this week tell me about this show, and I haven't watched it, so that's why I'm leaning towards Schitt's Creek. As far as who I want to win, I'm going to say Curb Your Enthusiasm just because I think Larry David's fun. I'm a Seinfeld fan, so
right.
Larry David is a funny man, so I want Curb Your Enthusiasm to win.
Yeah, I'd really like Insecure to win. I don't know if you've seen that, but it stars an actress called Issa Rae, and I think that she developed the show.
Okay.
That's another really good show on HBO. If you get a chance to watch that on HBO Max, I recommend it.
Okay, absolutely. So next we have Best Limited Series, and I'm hell-bent on this one. So we have Little Fires Everywhere, Mrs. America, Unbelievable, Unorthodox, and Watchmen. I think and I want Watchmen, hands down.
Dang, I agree with you 100%. That is the best show on television this year, hands down. There's nothing else compares to it. So I'm going to say Watchmen as well.
Okay, we got through that one pretty quick. What we got next?
Yeah, rapid fire, man. So lead actor in a drama series. Jason Bateman, Ozark. Sterling K. Brown, This Is Us. Steve Carell, The Morning Show. He's amazing in that. Brian Cox, Succession. Billy Porter, Pose. Jeremy Strong, Succession. This is probably the toughest one out of all the ones that I've looked at so far because I've watched pretty much all these shows, and I wouldn't be mad if any of these actors won. But I'm going to go ahead and say Jason Bateman for Ozark.
I agree. I'm 100% in on Jason Bateman. He has to. He has to.
Incredible. And, that his performance is just great this year. And so lead actress in a drama series. Jennifer Aniston, The Morning Show. Olivia Colman, The Crown. Jodie Comer, Killing Eve. Laura Linney, Ozark. Sandra Oh, Killing Eve. And Zendaya for Euphoria. What do you think?
Just because she's America's sweetheart for many, many, many years, I think Jennifer Aniston's going to win.
Okay.
Well, who I want to win, Laura Linney.
Okay. And I agree on both counts. I think that it's either going to be Jennifer Aniston or Olivia Colman. Olivia Colman plays the Queen in The Crown, and she did a great job this year. I think she won either a Golden Globe or an Oscar or both for The Favorite last year.
Yeah.
Fantastic actress. So I think that it's probably going to be her, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was Jennifer Aniston. She turned in an amazing performance for The Morning Show. But I'm with you. I think Laura Linney, that's my favorite. That would, if I was judging it, it would be Laura Linney for sure.
Okay, rapid fire. So we got Best Actor in a Comedy Series. This one's tough. Going down the list here, Anthony Anderson for Blackish, Don Cheadle for Black Monday, Ted Danson for The Good Place, Michael Douglas in there for the Kaminsky Method, Eugene Levy, Schitt's Creek, and Rami Youssef for Rami. Whew, this is tough. I haven't seen all these shows, but I'm familiar with everybody that's on there. Right. I think Don Cheadle's going to win, but I want Anthony Anderson to win because that man's been making me laugh for years.
Right. I also think it's going to be Don Cheadle, and I want it to be Don Cheadle. Black Monday is a great comedy. He's great in it. He definitely deserves it. Ted Danson would also be a good pick. Even though The Good Place, that final season wasn't the best, he actually turned in a fantastic performance. So I think it's going to be one of those two.
Okay.
All right. So moving right along, lead actress in a comedy series. Christina Applegate, Dead to Me. Rachel Brosnahan for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Linda Cardellini, Dead to Me. Catherine O'Hara, Schitt's Creek. Issa Rae, Insecure. Tracy Ellis Ross for Blackish. What do you think?
I've been a fan of Christina Applegate for years. I grew up in a household of married with children, so I want her to win. But I'm going to say Rachel Brosnahan is from Marvelous Miss Maisel is going to win because that show is very reputable. It won last season, very well could win again.
I agree. And she was great, in this season as well. I mean, she's just fantastic in the role. She basically owns that role. So I think it's going to be her also.
Okay.
We're agreeing on a lot of these. I thought we would be
well, there's a few differences here, but it'll be fun to see how our predictions turn out. That's going to be the episode to watch is our prediction. Yeah. When the weekend after it airs to see who was right.
Right.
Okay, so now we have Best Actor in a Limited Series. This one's stacked. Jeremy Irons for Watchmen. That's who I want and think will win. I'm going with that one hands down. But he's going against Hugh Jackman for Bad Education. Right. That's where he plays the principal, right?
That's right.
And then we have Paul Mescal and Jeremy Pope and Mark Ruffalo. So that's a pretty stacked competition. But I'm going with Jeremy Irons because Watchmen, hands down, was one of the best shows on TV last year. So what do you got?
I'm gonna pick Jeremy Irons because out of this list in this category, Watchmen is the only one that I actually watched. I'll be honest with you. I'm sure that Hugh Jackman turned in a fantastic performance. Mark Ruffalo is a favorite, but Jeremy Irons. I mean, what can you say about him? That has
he was so bizarre.
He was just like amazing. You know what I mean? Like he was the living embodiment of Adrian Veidt in that.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that he wins it, and I honestly think that he is going to be the winner.
It's going to be a travesty. If Watchmen doesn't win like a number of these categories, it'll be a travesty. They're nominated for 26. I think some of these have to win. Yeah. All right, so moving on. We have Best Actress in the Limited Series. Now we have Kate Blanchett. Shira Haas, Regina King. That's my pick. Again, I'm sticking with Watchmen. I think she's going to win, and I want her to win. Regina King. She kicked ass. She brought the drama. I love it. She was great. Octavia Spencer for Self-Made and Kerry Washington, who I believe has won before for Little Fires Everywhere.
Okay. I think it's going to be Regina King.
Yeah.
You don't have a Watchmen TV series without Sister Midnight. And she was perfect for that role. I mean, she carried the series in a lot of ways.
She did.
And so, I think that she's definitely going to be the one, mark my words.
Yeah.
I think that she's going to be the one to win it.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you got next?
All right. Supporting actor in a drama series. Giancarlo Esposito, one of my favorite actors of all time. Better Call Saul. Mm-hmm. Bradley Whitford, The Handmaid's Tale. Billy Crudup, The Morning Show. And he was great in that. Mark Duplass, The Morning Show. Nicholas Braun, Succession. Kieran Culkin, Succession. Matthew McFadden, Succession.
3 Successions in there, man.
I mean, I'm telling you, it's a great show. And Jeffrey Wright for Westworld. I don't know if I can pick.
This is tough. Listen, I'm going with Giancarlo Esposito. I'm thinking he won, and he will win because he did not get nominated when he was with Breaking Bad.
Right.
Now he's got a second chance. He's got to do it. I love Gustavo is a great villain. He's a scary villain. Now it's just amazing how he can play like the happy-go-lucky the fried chicken restaurant owner to going from this madman, this mob boss, like out for blood. I mean, oh my God, Gus is the man. I can't in the right mind. I know he's up against a stacked competition, but he's got to win, man.
I agree. On this we agree, and I've said before in previous episodes, everything that he is a part of is automatically elevated by his presence.
Yes.
I mean, he is one of the best actors out working today. And like you said, Gustavo Fring is a fantastic character. He breathes life into that character and makes that show what it is. And so I agree with you. I think it's going to be Giancarlo Esposito, and that's who I want it to be.
Absolutely. Here we go. Best Supporting Actress in a Drama. Laura Dern for Big Little Lies, Meryl Streep for Big Little Lies. Wow, in there twice for Big Little Lies. And then we got Alhina Bonham Carter for The Crown, Samira Wiley for Handmaid's Tale. Oh my gosh, that's like my mom's show there.
That's a good
Fiona
show.
Shaw, Fiona Shaw for Killing Eve. Julia Gardner, Ozark, young actress.
Yeah.
He's going against competition, and then Sarah Snook for Succession, and Thandie Newton for Westworld. So right off the hand, just because of the name, I think Meryl Streep's gonna win. But I am rooting hard for Julia Gardner to win.
Yeah, Meryl Streep is going to be the one to beat for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
this is ultimate.
They're
upset.
going up. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm just gonna say, if Meryl Streep loses in this category, this is gonna be a huge upset. Huge upset.
Oh yeah. I mean, you know how everybody else is going up against a living legend. You know what I mean, with Meryl Streep, and so I do think that it probably will go to her. But who I want it to go to is probably going to be Helena Bonham Carter.
Okay.
She played. Is it Princess
I didn't know she was
Margaret?
still active and like.
Oh yeah, and she's great on that show.
I bet.
She's fantastic on that show. So I would want her to win, but I do think it's going to be Meryl Streep. And shout out to the rest of the nominees. I mean, that is a stacked category. Everybody in this category is fantastic, and I wouldn't be mad if I'm wrong and Sarah Snook or Thandie Newton wins.
All right, Mark, what do you got next?
All right, so supporting actor in a comedy series. Andre Brower for Brooklyn Nine-Nine, William Jackson Harper for The Good Place, Alan Arkin, The Kominsky Method, Sterling K. Brown, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Tony Shalhoub, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Mahershala Ali, Raimi, Kenan Thompson, Saturday Night Live, and Dan Levy for Schitt's Creek. Who you got?
Oh, I almost wanted to change my mind at the last minute. I almost want to say Andre for Brooklyn Nine-Nine, because Brooklyn Nine-Nine is a strong. It's a show. It's still going. It's going strong, and that's mainstream TV. But I'm going to say Sterling K. Brown for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. But who I want to win, I'm going to go with my man, Mahershala Ali. Is my man, dude. I'm rooting for him.
Yeah. Again, another one of my favorites is Mahershala Ali. But, you know, this is really tough, man. Like, Sterling K. Brown is like a breakout star this year. I mean, he's doing a whole lot with like This Is Us and The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Mm-hmm. He's another one that is somewhat unsung, but is starting to get his due. And so I think that it might be him, but, also Tony Shalhoub, man. I mean, how are you going to go up against the guy like that? So, I think it's going to be one of those two. And I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say it's going to be Sterling K. Brown. Okay.
Now we got Best Supporting Actress in the Comedy Series. This one's a little bit interesting. We have Betty Gilpin for Glow, which I wasn't a big fan of that show. I tried. Darcy Carden for The Good Place. Yvonne Orji for Insecure. Alex Bornstein for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel again for Maren Hinkle. Kate McKinnon for Saturday Night Live, and Cecily Strong for Saturday Night Live, and then Annie Murphy for Schitt's Creek. I'm just gonna say it's gonna be one of them for Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Well, I think one of them are gonna win.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Alex Bornstein, honestly, for Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Yeah.
I don't really have any. I'm not really rooting for anybody in particular here because I haven't really watched enough of any of these. But if I'm picking right now, I'm gonna say it like you said, Alex Bornstein.
Yeah. So, supporting actor in a limited series or movie. Dylan McDermott, Hollywood. Jim Parsons, Hollywood. Titus Burgess, The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Kimmy versus the Reverend. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II for Watchmen. Is this Jovan Adepo for Watchmen? Louis Gossett Jr. for Watchmen.
3 Watchmen in this one, man. Okay, I'm going to Yahya Abdul-Mateen II has to win, man, because that takes guts to bear all the way he did and put on a performance the way he did, keeping his composure the way he did. And not to mention, shout out, he was great in Aquaman. Like, this dude's got chops, and it's been a real pleasure watching his work so far. I think he will win, and I am rooting for him to win.
I gotta go with Louis Gossett Jr., man. You gotta go with the living legend. Come on, dude. Like, I really think that it's gonna be him, you know, especially in that role, even though it was a smaller role than Yahya Abdul-Mateen's role. It was still like a pivotal role in the series.
Yeah.
And I think he did a fantastic job. I predict it's gonna be him.
Okay. Either way, we're picking different Watchmen, but Watchmen is gonna be the
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's going to be the one to beat for sure. All right, moving right along. Supporting actress in a limited series or movie. Holland Taylor, Hollywood. Uzo Aduba, Mrs. America. Margot Martindale, Mrs. America. Tracy Ullman, Mrs. America. Toni Collette, Unbelievable. And Jean Smart for Watchmen. All right, who's your pick?
Jean Smart. Okay. I'm going Watchmen just because I'm going
Watchmen all the way.
Watchmen all the way on this one.
Yeah, on this one, I'm gonna have to break with you. I gotta go with Margot Martindale. She's another one that's just everything that she's in, it automatically gets better because she's in it. And Mrs. America, even though I've only watched a few episodes of it, is no exception. I mean, she's fantastic in it, so I really think it's gonna be her.
All right, so those are all of our picks for the major categories. So let us know in the comments who you guys want to win, who you got. So we are on record now. We've made our predictions. So again, the week after September 20th or whatever, we're gonna see who's right, who's wrong. We are most looking forward to these results, man. And we're gonna be waiting in anticipation.
Absolutely, man. I am more than excited to watch this. It's going to be super different than, you know, any other time that we've watched it because all of the nominees are going to be on one massive Zoom call. Yep. And we're going to get to see how that kind of works out. How are they going to do their acceptance speeches and all that? So
it'll be great. It'll be like, you know, like I said, I mentioned on the live stream, it's just like the NFL draft this year. Like that, it was amazing the NFL pulled it off the way they did, and I think the rest of the world was watching like, okay, we can do this.
Right. So,
yeah, it'll be cool, but yeah, I feel bad for some of these people who are going to win. They're not going to be able to walk the stage and get their award. They're going to have to wait for it to come in the mail via FedEx. You know, like it's not going to be the same. You know.
Yeah, I read an interesting thing about it is that the Academy hasn't even decided yet whether or not they want the acceptance speeches pre-recorded. I hope they don't do that because
it kills the authenticity.
It's gonna kill the vibe if everybody already knows who won. You know what I mean? And then they have to sit through this Zoom call like, I already know I didn't win. You know what I mean? Like, so hopefully they don't ruin it for them and for us. So, but I'll be interested to see it either way. It's gonna be an adventure.
Okay, so before we go, we want to share a review with you. We both recently just watched Yip Man Part 4, the finale, which is available now on Netflix. And I'm glad I waited to watch it. So, Mark, I want to lead the way. What were your thoughts on Yip Man 4, you being the martial arts
the consigliere of
martial arts, yes.
So I wrote like a short review on this earlier this week, and in that I kind of explained that the martial arts part of it, the fight scenes, everything regarding kung fu and all of different philosophies that go with it are as good as any of the other Ip Man stories in the saga. But this particular one, like story-wise, plot-wise, it wasn't quite as good. I thought the acting was really lackluster. It just wasn't, it didn't live up to my expectations, like definitely wasn't as good as the first one.
Yeah, the first three for that matter.
Right, yeah. Although, you had some great performances from Donnie Yen and from I can't remember the actor's name, but he plays Bruce Lee in the film.
Yes.
I mean, he was just like amazing, like looks like him, moves like him, that withstanding, it just wasn't really as good as I had hoped to. Although Scott Adkins is in it, and he's like, one of the best fight choreographers, fight scene experts, So his presence in it actually did make it a little more exciting in that.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, he made a great villain.
Yeah. So I mean, on a scale from A to F, I'd give it like a C plus, something like that. What did you think of it?
Okay, I'm gonna take a little further. I'm gonna break it down a little more. First and foremost, I did watch the Cantonese version. Now, me being a fan of Asian cinema and Godzilla movies and Jackie Chan movies, and one common trope here is Asian cinema really has bad Caucasian actors, and this one really bled through that the Americans in these movies were not only portrayed. Okay, the way they were portrayed to me was kind of comical, but saying those performances from all of them were bad, really bad, really off-putting. Now, as far as the martial arts go, fantastic. The martial arts scenes were great. I do have a problem with some of the shots were painfully obvious wire work, like painfully obvious. Like there was a couple shots in the Bruce Lee alley scene where clearly wire work, and like I'm like, come on, man. I was expecting a little bit more out of that. Now you mentioned the guy who played Bruce Lee. Well, here's the thing.
I'm gonna go ahead and look it up.
Go ahead. While you do that, but
name.
Yeah. So again, I agree he did a good job, but the thing is, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is still fresh in my mind. And say what you want about the Bruce Lee scene, but that portrayal of Bruce Lee was a lot more, as far as like his demeanor and the way he looked, was more accurate to me. That looked and acted like Bruce Lee to me compared to the gentleman here that played Bruce Lee in Japan 4. My other problem is I wanted to see more Bruce Lee in this movie. Bruce Lee was basically an afterthought in this film. I mean, he had that one fight scene in the alley, and that was just about it.
Yeah, and I hated the setup for that. Like it didn't make sense to me. You know what I mean? Like, without trying to kind of spoil it for anybody, there's sort of a scene where they, like Bruce's students get challenged by
in a restaurant,
school, in a restaurant, and they all go outside, and rather than the students take on these other students, which is what you would expect, it's just this sort of like breakaway scene where the actor, his name is Danny Kwok Kwan Chan, fights some other, just like somebody that just comes out of the alley kind of randomly almost. And it just doesn't make sense. I mean, it's a fun fight scene to watch, but it just didn't really make a whole lot of sense. It was like, let's just showcase this like Bruce Lee-esque type of scene just because we can. And it didn't really serve any narrative purpose, and I had a real problem with that.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, I'll give the martial arts, if it wasn't for some of the wire work shots, I give the martial arts an 8 out of 10. The acting, again, not good. Donnie Yen did great. Donnie Yen was the best part about the movie, but everybody else, especially the Caucasian actors, man, and even Scott Adkins, is not the greatest actor either.
Right.
I mean, I have to go with like 2 or 3 out of 10. Now, the story, I'll give the story a 7 or 8 because the story was good. The execution was not.
Right.
But overall, I will say this, though. I'm glad I waited for Netflix to have it, because if I paid, the $10 to rent it when it first came out, I would have been pissed.
Yeah, so same here.
If you're expecting this to be as good as the first 3, you're in for a disappointment, but it is worth the watch. I say it's worth the watch because it does complete the story of Yip Man. It does. But it's just could have been executed better. And yeah, that's all I got on it.
I would agree with that. I would say this is the type of movie that you want to just kind of turn your brain off and just focus on the action, focus on the martial arts aspect of it. The minute you start to like really like take a look at the acting and the dialogue and stuff like that, it does take you out of the movie somewhat. And so, yeah, I mean, it's worth it. It's worth a couple of hours of your time if you've seen the other Ip Man films. Yeah. Just finish it out and watch this one. But otherwise, it's not something I would recommend to somebody who hasn't watched the rest of the story.
Yeah, and again, and one last thing in conclusion here, I just want to say it is fascinating to see Donnie Yen go up against Scott Adkins at the end.
Yeah.
That was kind of a matchup I always kind of want in the back of my mind. I kind of wanted to see, so I was pleased that we got that. Donnie Yen's, he's had a tremendous career. I remember the first time I saw Donnie Yen. I'm a diehard Highlander fan. The 4th Highlander movie was the first time I saw Donnie Yen. This was back in 2000, actually. A young Donnie Yen went toe-to-toe with Adrian Paul. Adrian Paul using his Hungar,
Right.
and Donnie Yen with his Wing Chun. It was as bad as that movie was. That fight scene was great. And then Donnie Yen, I see Donnie Yen 2 years later in Blade 2, which he did all the fight choreography for that whole movie. And then, of course, he went up against Jackie Chan in Shanghai Nights. Jackie Chan was past his prime at that point, but it was cool to see Jackie Chan and Donnie Yen square off. So my hat goes off to Donnie Yen. He's a tremendous. Oh, an Iron Monkey. That's his.
Yes.
That's his like.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Iron Monkey's his best work, but like, hats off to Donnie Yen. He's had a tremendous career so far, and the Yip Man series is his series. So
Absolutely.
again, it's too bad Part 4 was underwhelming, but Yip Man as a series overall, great. It's fantastic.
Right. Absolutely. I would agree with that. So.
Yeah, rapid fire. I think we did pretty good.
Yeah. Hopefully we stayed under the half hour. If not,
we tried. All
we're
right.
sorry.
All right. As of this recording, we are at 90 subscribers. So thank you. We only need 10 more to get to 100. So thank you to everyone out there supporting us, and thank you for everyone that came to the live stream last Thursday. My God, that couldn't have gone any better. And we got another great one coming up this coming Thursday.
Yeah, and speaking of live events, if you haven't heard yet, we've been kind of, singing this from the rooftops for the past week or two. Master Daniel Pacina is going to be visiting us on Thursday, August the 20th. It's going to be a live session. You guys can visit, chat, ask him questions. I know that we have a lot of questions.
And listen, if you can't make it, send your questions to us.
Right. If you want to send them ahead of time, we'll ask on your behalf. We are more than excited to have him here. It's a huge honor. For anybody who doesn't know who he is, this is the original Johnny Cage, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Reptile from the Mortal Kombat video games. And he was pivotal in its creation. And he's still a master martial artist today, one of the best in the world. And so we're really happy and excited to have him. So, if you're so inclined, tune in on August 20th and, come join us.
Yeah, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a blast. So if you got questions, Mortal Kombat, martial arts, and some action films, this is going to be a great session. We are most looking forward to this.
Yes.
Yes, but anyway, we appreciate everybody's support. So before we go, we ask you to pretty please like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, spread this shit like syphilis. So to you, I say, from Syracuse, New York to Louisville and all of our friends around the world at NerdCage Live, enjoy life, stay safe, and good night.
Sayonara.